Yeah. Geeks all over the globe, God. Welcome to a brand spanking new episode of Cuz We Geeked. Well, we encourage you to stay geek, man. Listen, your boy going far and beyond out here, man. It's your boy Real. Got Big J in the building, Cuz in the building, BA in the building, guys. We here to get our geek on, talking about all things related to movies and television in the geek culture. So if you guys are into any of that, Star Wars, DC, Marvel, all them good things, go ahead and follow us here, man, on the channel, man. We talk about this literally every Tuesday evening, Saturday morning. And also, too, if you guys can do us a favor, hit them likes for us tonight as well. That helps out the channel in more ways than you know. Shout out to the people who've been subscribing to the channel. We appreciate y'all, too. And also, if you got any questions or any comments addressing any of the topics that we bring up here in the show, you already know what to do. Hit that comment section. Join us for these conversations, and we'll address it there at the end of the show. All right, fellas. Got a pretty interesting topic tonight that we can get into. I already know who BA gonna pick. No, I know who Big J gonna pick too. Okay. Well, listen, man, we're gonna get to it, man. Let's go ahead and get to it. As y'all know, summertime is here. Movies are dropping. We had a few movies dropping from a particular studio. So we're gonna get to it, man. It's got a lot of people online talking right now, man, on who you trust more. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it, man. Let's get to this main topic. Uh-oh. We got y'all's favorite two favorite studio heads right here going head to head. Check it out, man. We got James Gunn, Dave Filoni. We're gonna have a nice little discussion about this, man. Who do y'all trust going forward with their prospective studios? Got James Gunn or do you got Dave Filoni? Get y'all thoughts on this, man. Of course, y'all know Supergirl's dropping next week in the movie theaters. And then, of course, Dave Filoni just had a movie from their studio release. We had The Mandalorian. So both studios having these two studio heads who just started. Want to kind of get y'all's thoughts on it, man. Let me start with you, Big J. What's your thoughts, man? And who you got? Who you think we got moving forward, man? Who got more trust in moving forward with out of these two, Dave Filoni and James Gunn?
Option C. That's what I'm choosing. I trusted both of them are studio heads.
That's okay. It's okay, BA. It's okay. It's okay.
BA's upset. All right, look. I trusted James Gunn until he gave me reason not to. And then, of course, Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni kind of won me back a little bit with the. He won me back quite a bit with Maul Shadowlord. That's one of the best Star Wars we've seen in a while. Now, once again, my only concern is I keep hearing that they're trying to figure out how to bring Maul back and do the somehow Maul return thing. And I'm like, I've heard that multiple times since we talked before about it. And I'm like, dude, y'all burn him up. I understand he's a popular character, but you set him on fire in the show. So you can't just keep bringing people back. You know what I mean? That's disrespectful to Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon got stabbed one time in the abdomen, and he's just dead. This man been cut in half. He'd been burnt. He survived so many things, and it just keep coming back. So that's my thing. We can't have this man be indestructible and immortal. Is all I'm saying. And Ahsoka got to die at some point too, because otherwise we wonder why wasn't she in the sequel trilogy? So
great boy. That's a good point. What about you, B.A.? I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead and let the folks know.
One, Ahsoka transformed into a bird, so she was there as a spirit animal. So that's one thing. Two, of course I'm going to go with Filoni. But to be honest, that's just me personally. I think it's James Gunn, and I'll say why. James Gunn, even if he fails with Supergirl, I think the next couple programs for him are going to do very well. I think Lanterns is going to do very well. I think Man of Tomorrow is going to do very well. So he has more ability, especially because he nailed the first Superman. It's like, okay, he has at least that going for him. and he hasn't even tried Batman. He hasn't even went to Wonder Woman. So I think he has more room for error versus what Filoni has. I'm not going to hold Mando against him because I don't think he really wanted to go that route. Also, I also believe even Starfighter. I don't think that's 100% Filoni. These things was in the works before Filoni got to the head. So we don't know necessarily his Star Wars and what he wants. Maybe 10, 11, 12. Maybe that trilogy they give to him to lead the way. But that's Mando that failed. That's failing. That's Starfighter that might fail. Any other type of works in between that could possibly fail. So like he's already up against it. He's 0-2 right now, and with no balls coming his way, no nothing. So he got to knock it out the park with whatever he runs a majority of, and that's tough. So I think for sure James Gunn is the safer bet here because he already successfully landed Superman. Everything else is, it's he's good. He's working with house money at this point.
What about you, Cuz?
I have to go with James as well. For Dave, when it came to Maul, that was by far one of the best animated shows that we've seen. And that's just across the board, everybody agrees that it was a great show. When it comes, so at this point, I agree with BA. He had that success, and he hasn't had an opportunity to fully invest or take control because it won't be until until after Starfighter, essentially, when at that point we'll start to actually see Filoni take over the Star Wars at that point. So right now it will have to be James Gunn, just because Filoni hasn't, like I said, he won't truly have say until next year when his projects are actually out there. And at this point, the Superman project was good. Even for Peacemaker, it was only the end that made it that got everybody upset because of expectations. He set the expectations and he didn't hit it, and that upset everybody. But the overall show was good for James Gunn. So, like BA said, he's with house money at this point. Good on Superman. You mostly hit it out the park for Peacemaker. Supergirl can essentially play it safe. They won't, of course, but they can essentially play it safe, and it will just be stacking. Lanterns looks like it's going to be a great one. Man of Tomorrow looks like a good one. I think at this point, the only thing that would stop Gunn are the Ellises, because they're trash, and everybody that they support is trash. So hopefully it'll get shut down.
Now, so are we counting the Batman as part of on the Gunn's watch too?
2. I think 2 would have to be under him. Just because he allowed it to happen. He didn't. I mean, yes, it was already expected to happen, but him being the head of the studio and it hadn't been written yet, he allowed it to happen at this point. So I think it has to go under him as well. Because it's not the same as Filoni. That these other like Starfighter stuff had already been written. It's already been in works and stuff like that by the time he took over. So it's not the same. So yeah, I will put the Batman 2 under him for sure.
You should say something, BJ.
No, I mean, like I said, I was just thinking the same thing I said. You can't. I wouldn't put Starfighter on Filoni.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though I think Starfighter is going to be good, I don't put on him either way. Just like The Mandalorian and Grogu technically is not on his watch because that was already started production before he took over. Even though I think he did have a hand in it, because of the collaboration with him and
he did. He's the one who did Maul, right?
Yeah, Filoni did Maul.
So he did Maul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
was his baby. But so yeah, he did Maul. So So like I tell you, my only issue with Filoni is he has like I said, he has a very huge affinity for this one particular time in these certain characters, and I'm wondering if he really has a desire to branch out and do the other stuff, or if he's going to be, I got to be this, George Lucas disciple, which a lot of, and that's why I see a lot of fans of Star Wars are, if George would never do this, and George, and I'm like, okay, stuff has to grow beyond the original, what it was all the time. So that's my thing. If he's willing to grow and explore different parts of the universe, he's cool. But James Gunn, like I said, he's got a big toy box to play with. I really wonder. My biggest concern with James Gunn and his longevity is going to be more so with the merger situation, because I just don't see him working for those dudes. Just like I found out about Tyler Sheridan, the one who did all those shows. That everybody was like,
Paramount, yeah.
They say he refused. They said because they want him to start they pressured him to start invoking right-wing stuff into the shows. And he already kind of had that lean in, but he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna write no show that y'all tell me to write." And he was, and he bounced, which I respect, But I can see
NBC.
Yeah, I can see him trying that with him though. It'd be stupid, but I can see him trying it with him. It'd be real cool if you didn't. We don't want to make Superman an immigrant. Really, he's not really an alien. We don't want to talk about that part. We want to focus in on his Caucasity.
Hero.
He grew up in Kansas. That's I can see them pushing that upstairs. And I can see him be like, what, forget this, I'm out. And so that's my only thing is I think they could be the cause of him not having longevity there. So
that's what I was saying,
bro.
That's what I'm saying.
I want you to understand something.
That's what I was saying too. I think that will be the shortcoming is those guys.
And I want y'all to understand something. Like he technically, yes, he started, and he really hasn't really got his footing yet with the DCU yet, right? Like BA just said, we ain't seen Batman yet. We ain't seen Wonder Woman, all the rest of the Justice League or whatever yet, right? And so probably something's close to that is going to be Man of Tomorrow. My thing is like y'all saying, if that does go through, we already know James Gunn not going to want to work with these people, which means if they do decide to do what you just said, Big J, they're going to kill DC. They're going to kill DC if they decide to go that way.
You know what the problem with that though? Is Larry Ellison is worth $247 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has the true what they call FU money. He could buy Warner Brothers, Paramount, burn them to the ground, and still be richer than everybody. He used to have more money than what's the name? What's the dude from the NBA? Ballmer. Yeah, he could lose all the money he put in both of those companies and still have more money than Ballmer, the richest man in the NBA. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that's like, is that gonna phase him? If those companies don't.
Just when you thinking that studio, man, is finally figuring it out, they kind of heading in the right direction, bro. And they have they could possibly be, pretty much just burn it down to the ground before they even continue to finish building the house. You know what I'm saying? So I was gonna ask y'all this too. How long we giving Dave Filoni before we like, you know what, this ain't working? Because you just said it. We named up all these projects that's coming out here, recently or whatever, like with Mandalorian, Starfighter. That's not technically him. Like, when do we start saying, all right, you on the clock now? You got X amount of years. Like, where are we going with that?
It's 27 to 30, right?
So this is what I meant by the fact that, like, I wasn't necessarily putting Mando or Starfighter on him per se. It's just Star Wars in general. So the people, the public, the consumer is like, Mando was cool. Starfighter, I really wasn't feeling that at all. So now whatever Filoni wants to come out with, that's his brainchild. Like I said, I'm just saying for itch and giggles, let's say episode 10 out the trilogy. It's going to be hard to bring people to even watch that because we have just seen 2 failed projects from Star Wars. So when 10, if 10 fails, then that's going to be on Filoni, but it's not because maybe it was a bad movie. It's because they're just done with Star Wars because the last 2 flopped. So it's hard, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, honestly, Starfighter has to do very well. So when his reign actually begins and it's like, okay, this is my full-out product.
At the back of a win.
Yeah, you got to have some kind of win. If not, we got a lot of dubs. Unless they grow up Grogu. That's the only thing they can do.
All right, B, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And all of but so let's say Starfighter makes 800 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say Ahsoka is panned. The Ahsoka season 2 is like he doesn't do the more of the stuff that everybody's wanting and all the stuff that he alluded to in the first. Let's say he pans that, right? And then the next movie that he comes out with flops. What then? Do we then be like, do you think that Dave would be like, let me go back to the stuff that was working, like let's go do Starfighter 2 or let's go do this? Or you think he's gonna be like, I gotta keep playing with my stuff I know and I'm gonna keep going to that stuff? Because I think that's gonna be the
I hear where you're going. And it's definitely a Big J question. But when it comes to that, it's like because I get it. I get your thought process. I think for the sake of his job, he would then have to pivot to the Starfighters, the Andors of the world, and just say, this is where it's going. And what I want may not be for the big screen. It could work animated, yes, but maybe not the big screen. So because of that, I need to pivot, and then he has to be a figurehead. He has to be, flexible and see, just like a coach. You got different players now. Like, whatever was working with this group, it's just not working with this new group. You have to change. If you don't change, you will have to find another job. So, yes. So if Ahsoka is failing. Which I doubt. But if Ahsoka is failing, then he has to pivot and say, people want maybe either something new or more realistic view. When I say realistic, I'm kind of going towards the Andor. It was a very in your face
Like
type
grounded
of
or whatever.
Star Wars, very underground Star Wars. So it's like, okay, you have to then create a universe from that. So you have to go from let's just say this is, like I said, the new thing. You have to then change whatever it is that you was doing. You can still throw little Filoni-isms in the movie, but it has to be maybe more grounded or just maybe in a new world in which people want to see something new. So he has to do that then. But until then, let's see what Starfighter does, and Ahsoka will never die. Don't do that.
So this is my thing too with Filoni. This is what I want him to do. I want him to be more collaborative than the previous person who was there. Like, I need you to, cause like you said, BJ, because he has this kind of this mindset or this way of thinking of like, I want to stay within this. I got these characters that I created or I kind of built up, and I want to continue to build them up and have everything flow through them. Like I said, the Ahsokas of the world, right? I want him to be able to collab with some of these people because some of the ideas that we've gotten outside of him, i.e. Starfighter and Andor, are successful projects, right? So that's why I want you to be able to collab with these people, man, and get a broader, like you said, you want to flush out Star Wars to the point now you're not being pigeonholed to this one particular idea, right? And so I kind of feel like too, man, Dave might be on a short leash because of what BA said. The fact that right now, Star Wars ain't the stamp of approval type brand right now. It's not like if you're dropping it in the movies, it's gonna make $1 billion. We're not at that no more. It's to the point, like I said, it's kind of feeling like the tail end of Fast and the Furious, where it's like, yeah, it used to be these $1 billion movies, and all of a sudden it's like, you know what? Each time now that quality starting to fall off a little bit. Now that box office starting to fall off a little bit. That's what it's kind of feeling like right now with Star Wars, which is why I was also thinking too, Dave needs to literally sit down. He needs to get a group of people. It could be Jon Favreau, whoever, right? Get a group of the people, get them together, man. I need to find a way, have an idea of what you're going to do moving forward, and I need you to flush that idea, flush that plan, whatever you wanted to call it. Have a plan, stick with it, and make sure you see it through. Do not be reactionary like the previous person that was here, where it's like, okay, the people didn't like this one, switch it up. Okay, they like this. Oh, they didn't like that. Switch it up. Very DCEU-ish, right? They need to go out and flush a plan out. Like I said, I don't know what that could be for them, but they need to do something as far as it needs to feel cohesive and don't just feel like it's 3 separate movies if you're gonna do that trilogy or whatever, 10 to 12 or whatever, right? Don't want it to feel like it's separate movies within there. Have it feel like one cohesive story separating the 3 sections. What do you say, BJ?
No, I was just looking because they've been talking to Simon Kinberg about writing the next trilogy, and I'm trying to see what has he done, and I'm looking at the movies he's done, and he seems to be hit or miss on some of the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he the X-Men guy, right?
So he did. Let's see. So let me see what he actually wrote. If he's written anything, or has it just been? Because they got him down for The Martian, Logan,
Okay.
Fan Four Stick, but he was a producer on Fan Four. So okay, so he just produces on those. I don't see where he's written anything though. I thought.
Hold on, ain't he the one? I thought he was the one who wrote the X-Men stuff. Did he the one that directed
he produced it. Let me see. I'm trying to look. I'm looking to see what he actually did because I've heard his name for years.
Yeah, I thought he was the one who wrote the not what's it called? Dark Phoenix. What was the last X? What was the Phoenix movie for X-Men that came out?
So okay, it looks like he wrote Star Wars Rebels. He wrote X-Men Apocalypse. He wrote the screenplay for Fan Four Stick. He did Days of Future Past.
I'm saying you're not giving me no encouragement over here, BJ.
Well, okay, so he did Sherlock Holmes. Was that like those? The Sherlock Holmes movie?
Okay.
He did Jumper, which
okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I like those.
Okay. You winning me over now. All right.
X-Men: The Last Stand was another one of his. So other than that, he did This Means Water and one with Chris Pine and Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
But other than that,
he wrote Triple X.
I skipped that. I was talking about stuff I liked.
Skip that. You were saying?
He did Triple X State of the Union. I saw that. I was like, yeah.
He said State of the Union? Oh,
yeah.
my God.
I purposely didn't say State of the Union to go along with Big J's original thought process. Yes. I just wanted to set y'all up for that one. Yes. He did the second one, not the first one.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not going. I'm
so sorry.
I mean, honestly, it's because of Rebels. Like he was one of the main writers, co-creator, writer, executive producer of Rebels. That's as well. So he knows what Filoni is thinking. He knows what Filoni wants. That's Filoni's guy.
Which that's fine. Like I said, it's if you gonna have him write, like I think you say he doing a trilogy, right, BJ?
That's what they said. They have been working on one.
Yeah, I think I remember that too. Like I said, as long as he's writing out all three or whatever, right? Of course, they're gonna tweak some things depending on how the first movie goes and so forth. But the fact that y'all actually are writing it all at once to kind of get an idea to where it feels like a cohesive story compared to how it was with what was it 7, 8, 9 or whatever, right? Like for being reactionary and switching stuff up in the middle, you retcon of stuff in the middle of a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with that. That was horrible, bro. And that's what I'm scared of, bro. Because it's like with Star Wars, like we said before, the fact that Star Wars being such a prevalent, IP or whatever, is like you're only getting grace from a lot of people because of your name. It's like after a while, as we get older, you got a whole nother generation of folks that's not playing that. Like, hey, I grew up not seeing a successful Star Wars movie or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
As it goes on, which is why I was saying they need to be able to establish, like I think BJ, you said it before, right? Growing up, the originals, right? That was the end all be all of everybody, right? Then the prequels came. That's how I ended up getting kind of grew more into Star Wars because of the prequels with the originals, right? 3. Yeah, see what I'm saying? And so now we got this newer generation of people. They're attached to 7, 8, 9. We all know how. I mean, 7 was, everybody liked 7 or whatever. 8's probably one of the most divisive Star Wars movies I've ever seen in my life. And then, of course, 9, everybody didn't really like that, like 9 or whatever, right? So that's what their thought process is.
People don't like 9.
Well, you know why? Because it was a roller coaster between all of the movies. Our emotions was played with.
Like I said, you retcon like
on the fly. You retcon it on the fly.
It retconned it on the fly. Like that's why I was saying, like when you said Simon Kinberg is writing all 3, that's fine.
That's cool.
Like I'm not saying him writing all 3 is going to be good. I'm not saying that, but it's going to at least feel cohesive, knowing that you wrote all 3 of them. And that way it feels like one story. You know what I'm saying? Like the originals or whatever,
Well,
right? Or the prequels or whatever.
As long as they don't do the whole react movie to movie.
Yes.
Well, you need a small reaction, not a total script rewrite.
Like for example, BA, Mortal Kombat. We talked about Mortal Kombat, right? Going from that first movie to the second movie.
Homeboy
He was like, yo,
yeah,
you cleaning up stuff. Like you still it still feels like it's part of that first one or whatever, but you could tell they clean some things up, and it's not to the point like, well, damn, you just completely retconned the whole goddamn first movie. Yeah. Like, no, you just took the good parts out. Yeah, Cole, you know what I'm saying? Took the good parts out and you made that second.
Floating in space. Like that's where we going? How we get here?
To the ship.
Nah, how we get here?
Force.
Even
Midichlorians.
According to episode 7, that's not how the Force works.
It's all midichlorians.
Parts.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's another thing too. This is another reason why I'm saying it.
She had them all. That's why she had. She was.
She went all state. That's what it was. Understood.
Hey, and like you talk with Maul missing half his body, why he weaker than Vader and all that.
Yep.
But no, I was gonna say, and that right there is why I've been saying too. You either need to go ahead and move. I'd rather. I know I've been screaming Old Republic for 100 million years or whatever, but that's why I'd rather them move forward. That way, everything it'll feel like it's still within the universe of Star Wars, but it'd be a fresh start. To where everything from that point on is going to feel cohesive moving forward. Instead of you got different, like you always say, Big J, you got these different movies and shows, kind of like, you put it in there between this 30-year period or this 5-year period or this 10-year period or whatever. And you forgetting what you making a whole nother show, forgetting what you said in a previous movie or a show or whatever. So you having to retcon your own stuff within that frame or whatever, that time frame. Instead of doing all that, instead of keep going back and forth or whatever, just go ahead and move forward in the future. Move far enough to where you're not tainted by anything in the past. I don't even care if it's the originals. You're not tainted by anything in the past, and you can start from scratch from there. So when we all on the same page, starting from ground zero. We would say, BJ.
I would like to submit my suggestion is that we do what you said, which is jump ahead about 200 years and start a new sequel. I mean, a new trilogy. Simultaneously, jump back about 1,000 years and do the Old Republic, and then so that way you can release a new Star Wars movie every year, but on separate tracks. You see what I'm saying? Like one year you have the future one, and then next year you have Old Republic, and next year future, and you have your two trilogies going concurrently. So there's always somebody can go check out. And it's different stories, not all the same people. I know BA gonna hate it, but go ahead. What you got,
BA? I don't hate it. What I'm afraid they're gonna do, because there's nothing for it right now. I think they're gonna take that idea and they're gonna make Knights of the Old Republic animated.
No.
I think they're going to do that. They're going to then do the time jump, and have Grogu being one of the main characters leading that new world that you're speaking of. It's a new world. Grogu's only 50 years old, 55 in between that range right now. So 200 years, like he should be like I said, holding a gun in one hand and holding the dark saber in the other hand. You know what I'm saying? Like there's room for him to be a badass of some kind. There's room for that. I think people do want to see that. What's the point of all this Mandalorian stuff? That if you're not going to give everyone a full understanding of what a Mandalorian is, and then let him be the person to take it to the next level once we get to that point. So I think this is all leaning towards him, and we can say, oh, he was this and that, and he was so cute and cuddly, and now he's doing like it builds that. It builds from that. So I think the 200 years is 1 to 200 is legit. I just think that the previous work with all these lightsabers and all these fights and all these other stuff, I think they're going to just go ahead on straight to the animated version and just keep that going, because what Star Wars stays with some type of animation. Clone Wars, Rebels, like what's
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. Like it's always something. So if you want them to remove themselves from the Skywalker verse, if you want to remove them, then we have to go back. Then I think they may make that animated.
I don't know. I can see that, but because they always got to have animated, content. But the other thing, like I really do think if they go back and take a lesson from James Gunn and do like we talked about, do a what's the boy name? A Nihilus or a Malgus or one of or Bane, and do a body horror, like actual scary horror movie, Star Wars movie. Because Bane could with all
Oh, you saying do different genres within
yes,
Star Wars.
within Star Wars. You got all dude. They got all kinds of crazy stuff.
Now, BJ, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Now, you sure that the Star Wars fans are going to be with you?
Of course. So the people like Star Wars theory. That's the ones he's the kind of person that gets on my nerves because he believes that George Lucas is God. And if George wouldn't do it, George wouldn't do anything scary because it's for children. I'm like, man, I was a child when Star Wars came out, and I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like I told you, that's why when the prequels came out, we all thought it was stupid. We was like, this is all like all like Return of the Jedi, because in Empire Strikes Back, the Empire was scary. People were like, oh man, them dudes are serious. And then we got to the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi when the Empire is a bunch of bumbling idiots getting knocked out by a bunch of teddy bears. And so then we was like, but Luke got to be hardcore. So then we was like, okay. But then when we saw the prequels, we was like, this is all too cute. You know what I'm saying? Everything was about being cute and selling toys, and we didn't like it. And then now y'all saw it, and then y'all was like, toys. And then for y'all, now that's your main thing. And so when you see the sequel, like you said, when you see the sequel trilogy, y'all like, oh, this is stupid. You know what I mean? And so everybody hates it. But so I think it's gonna be this cyclical thing. But they have to find a niche. And like I said, you got to get rid of that Star Wars is this thing because this one dude did this thing 55 years ago, and it can never be anything besides this. Like I said, there's many books that he didn't write in that are now canon or legends. You know what I'm saying?
The legends, yeah.
All that stuff can be readdressed, and you can be like, you know what? Yeah, we can tell. Like I said, you tell the story of Darth Bane. Darth Bane is canon. Tell the story of Bane with him and all. I forgot what those things were. Like, remember when he put the armor plate and made out of those living creatures that was feeding on his body? That made him indestructible. That like I said, that kind of stuff is freaky. But if you know what I'm saying, it would be scary to see. And
but you want Star Wars to be rated R? Try a rated R movie.
You could have that. I mean, like I said, dude. I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan. I'm one of the original fans. Like I said, I saw the first movies back in the day, and I don't have to see everything. Don't have to be kiddie. It ain't always got to be. I'm still gonna buy the toys. I still got the toys, but it don't mean everything has to be kiddified. And you could tell different stories. Just like we said about Marvel, everybody's like, you can't have a Marvel movie, can't have a curse. Until we saw Deadpool and Wolverine, that was what it made like $1.7 billion, and people was like, oh, okay, I guess we can have an R-rated Marvel movie. It could
Marvel
be okay.
movie, yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy dropped the F-bomb, and they was like, you know what I mean? So they need to chill with all that trying to baby everybody. And like I said, fans grow up. My son was a Marvel fan. He's 20 years old. You know what I mean? He watched all that stuff from when he was a baby. He watched the first Spider-Man. He's like 5, 6 years old, and he's grown up, and now he's like, oh, you know what I mean? So when he saw Toby on screen with all that, he had all the feels. But he's a man, you know what I mean? And people grow up. People watch your stuff and grow up, and everybody don't have to stay 8 years old for the rest of history. It's like
trying to feed off that nostalgia. But what you say, BA?
Well, one, I realized that
I'm old.
Return of the Jedi came out in '83, so Big J has been hating on Star Wars for at least 43 years. We're going to have to clear that out. We're going to just set that aside. Starting with the Ewok. Actually, it all stemmed from the Ewok. So any cuddly little bear or anything like it all makes sense now. And I understand where you was coming from. You seen the Empire Strikes Back, and you're like, oh my God, Vader this and all this other stuff. And then you said, what are these bears doing? Like, what is going on with the Battle of Endor? What's happening here?
Some killer bears, man. Anybody with skulls?
Killer bears, right along with the killer tomatoes. I get it.
Exactly.
I get you. So, but with I guess the thing is, especially when you want to come for different genres within one thing, I guess they might go animated to see what sticks, to see what people are buzzing about, and then I don't put them past them to make a movie off of that. It might not be what you want. It might not be, it might be knowledge. It might be it might be different. Whoever's pop, whoever's like fearsome, they're gonna be like, okay, this is getting a lot of buzz. Let's see if we can continue this story on the big screen and then get more money for it. That's the money part of it, and I think that's where they go. I don't think they'll do one-offs before the animated version comes out. I think they do anime, especially for that time period. See what sticks, and then take the animation to the big screen and go that way. That seems to be more of a safer risk than just saying, "Let's go out with this. Let's go out with that." They're not going to go out on a limb. They're not.
And that's what I was about to. That's what I was about to ask you, BA. That's what I was about to ask you, because from what you and BJ are saying, to me, it sounds like they're not going to take a risk. They don't want to. No. They don't want to risk the backlash. So now they want to be safe. But being safe got you Mandalorian. That's a safe movie. It's like, oh, look, we had this movie, this little Grogu, little cute little Yoda baby or whatever. People like that. Let's just make a movie off of that and hope for the best or whatever, right? And I think the fact that they did kind of take a chance a little bit on the sequels, now that it seems like they're afraid to try to take another chance. It's just that, not understanding that it wasn't that the sequels were bad or whatever. It's just that y'all didn't plan them out. You didn't plan them out correctly. Like I just said, you retconned your own sequel within the sequel. So if you just plan it out, like BJ said, I don't understand why it's not one particular formula. Like, okay, we got to stick to just this for all the Star Wars, because like you said, we talked about, Rogue One is not like the originals. It's not like the prequels, not like the sequels. It's his own particular type of movie, right? Like a heist type movie or whatever, right? It's his own particular movie, and look how successful it was. And it's like I'm saying, like, if you got to take a little bit of chances, man. That's how you start inviting a lot of other people outside of the fandom to be Star Wars fans. You know what I'm saying? Like my boy Jay, cause I tell you, my boy Jay, he wasn't no Star Wars fan. He watched Rogue One and was like, you know what? Hold on, my bad. I apologize. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and that's what I'm talking about. You have to do stuff like that, bro. You gotta take a little bit of a chance, man. A little bit. Like, don't just stick to this being safe, because being safe will get you 230 in the box office. What we say, BJ?
Go ahead, Jay.
No, so we all kind of in our minds think that the prequel, the sequel trilogy was a failure, right?
Yeah.
But they grossed $4.4 billion. You know what I'm saying? They grossed more than the prequel trilogy, was grossed $2.5 billion altogether. So it's like, it was hated, but you hate it all the way to the bank. So the thing is, but y'all depart from that and be like, nah, we can't do that. Even Rogue One grossed over $1 billion.
But think about that though, BJ. You gotta look at it like this. I'd equate that to the Transformers sequel. The Transformer and the Fast and the Furious, right? Those movies all were making billions and billions of dollars, right? And then you had your, Last Nights, and you had your Fast X or whatever, Fast 11, whatever heck they called it, right? Like, yeah, after a while, it's like, yo, you keep feeding us this BS. Eventually, they're gonna be like, you know what? I'm not falling for that no more. And then you get Solo, you get Mandalorian, where he's making 200, 300 million or whatever, right? And so, that's
to quickly push back. It's Rogue One was so important because they advertised it as the lead-in, right? So it gave people some type of grounding understanding of Star Wars. The other two that you just mentioned, and maybe this is just now history is talking now. People might not want standalone films. People might not, if I'm not invested in because you have to make sense of what Big J just said. I'm not saying that he didn't make sense. It's just like, well, he did just say that the sequel trilogy sold billions. So it was an investment. So people understand I'm watching this story because it's part 1 of 3, or part 2 of 3. Oh, I gotta see how it finishes. Even though I might not like it, I gotta see how it finishes. Solo was a one shot. Mando is a one shot. It's like what, and that's what we was talking about, especially with Mando. We was on the show. All of us like, where did that take us? It didn't take us anywhere. So I don't need to rewatch it. I don't need to see any specials on it. I don't need to see anything because I didn't go anywhere with that. Had you said that this is maybe a new trilogy starting with Mando, then maybe it might have would have been different. Because I'm like, okay, well, what are they going to pick up in the part 2? It was none of that. So maybe they need to get away from the one shots, the one-off movies, unless it's going to lead into something bigger. And that's what Rogue One did. It led to something bigger. It led into something that we already knew was the original 4, 5, and 6. So,
you might be right. I'm gonna say this and it hurts. You might be right, BA.
It shouldn't hurt, but go ahead.
No, but because I said that the Mandalorian and Grogu didn't mean anything and it didn't do anything, and that was kind of it was there. It was like they did the adventure, but so if the Mandalorian and Grogu fed directly into Ahsoka season 2, or if they were really going to do the Thrawn movie, the heir to the Empire thing, if they did any of that, it would have stakes. But it's kind of like, like there's no direct stakes to that movie, and that's why I was like, it doesn't mean anything. But if like I said, if it was leading right up, or if we saw Ahsoka, or they were, that was the next, that could have been the end of the movie. They was going off to do a mission with Ahsoka, or going to go find her on Dathomir. Not Dathomir. What's the other? I forgot the name of that other planet.
The one where she had she got to it with the space whales.
She's over there now.
Yeah, but she's trying to. I forgot. Prettier. Isn't it Prettier?
I think so. I can't remember.
But so like that's what I'm saying. If they were going to look for her, like if they got a distress signal or something, and they had to go find her and figure out a way to do that would have been set up something to give you something to do. But or if Thrawn would have showed up at the end, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh shoot, Thrawn back. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know why they didn't add Thrawn in there.
Which is what Marvel did. They literally threw in Thanos at the end of a movie. They had really nothing to do with the movie. They just, I know it had something to do with it, but really that could have been just taken out, and we wouldn't even know the difference. No, you added him, and now your question is going, well, damn, why did they add him? Did I miss something in this movie? Did I miss something else? So you got to go back and watch it. So it just they really failed at just keeping us interested. And they definitely shouldn't do that. But I wanted to say this too before we go too far off topic, especially when y'all got me rolling with the Knights of the Old Republic, and I was just thinking like, well, how did the Clone Wars start? And I was like, well, they had an animated movie first, and then since from the animated movie, it was 2008. They had an animated movie first, and then from then they had the series after that. So.
Oh, you talking about the animated series and animated movie? Okay, I got you.
Not the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones. No. So that told me that they had an idea. Don't know how good or bad it is. New character, Ahsoka, and things like that. We're going to throw it out there. Oh, people actually kind of enjoyed it. Boom. You have a whole saga, a whole series. That was like 5 or 6 seasons of it. I'm thinking if they do Knights of the Old Republic, I don't think you want to minimize that, and I think that's what I think. I'm stuck on that. I don't want to minimize that in 3 movies.
You don't want to minimize 3 movies?
No, I need that to be fully fleshed out. I need 5, 6 seasons of that time period, and to really get things out. And I think that's me personally. So I would love to see it on the big screen. But they got so many heavy hitters and things like that. I was like, how you condense this time period in 3 movies versus or however many movies,
right?
Versus what I've seen before. I've seen them fully flush out a whole Clone Wars series, and matter of fact, they didn't even finish. They had to come back later and finish it. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But if it's made in the with Maul in sight. So if you make it like how they made Maul, man, you talking about a masterpiece series that we could have here. I don't want to negate that because man, now my fandom is coming out. Like that's awesome. I don't want to just say like, yo, there's so many things they missed in this damn movie. That's what I'm going to say.
What if they made it? What if they made it 6? If you did 2 trilogies for the Old Republic, I think that you could cover a lot with that.
Okay, 6 movies is different.
You can, but
because, like I said, if we're gonna run concurrent sagas, you could make a 6-movie, saga, 2 trilogies. You could do first half of the Old Republic and second half of the Old Republic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you saying you can do old then high?
Yeah,
or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I can see that, bro. Because y'all know Yoda, that's gonna be the connection right there. Yoda gonna be part of the high. You know what I'm saying? So, and what someone's gonna ask y'all too about that, because man, you might be right, BA, because that's probably the only way you can flush it. Because if you do decide to do, let's just say they do Old Republic and they do it in the movie, right? And they do 3, you're gonna kind of do like with Clone Wars, because like you just said, Clone Wars that was like a 5, 6, 7 year show, right? But the actual movies, the live action movies, only covered one little portion of that in the movies. It did a big old huge time jump and all that stuff. That's something they'll probably have to do with the Old Republic. They start to do that to 3 in the movie and all that type of stuff. You got to pull out pieces out of that whole entire. We're talking about hundreds of years or whatever, right? Thousands of years ago of the whole. Matter of fact, if they continue to count the High Republic as part of the Old Republic, if that's our one big story, then that's a lot of time, right? So you're gonna take little pieces out of that huge story and make a movie out of it or whatever. I mean, I don't want the animation, but it makes sense if you did the animation because you can flush a whole lot more, especially with the new animation style that they have or whatever. So, man, I don't know. Which is why I was saying, man, just go further in the future, man. So that way too, you won't be retconning a lot of stuff. You won't have to worry. You won't get those questions like y'all was saying earlier. I mean, where was Ahsoka at this whole time? Where was Grogu at this whole time? You know what I'm saying? You won't be having those questions no more. You can start from scratch right now and move forward. And when you move forward, don't jump back around within that time you move forward. Keep it a steady flow of a story. You know what I'm saying? Keep it going forward the whole entire time, so where you won't have to backtrack and retcon nothing. You can say, BJ?
Are you right?
No, I'm gonna call BJ out because this is the same person that went against you, Rel, when you was talking about the Batman, right? You can't have Batman 1 and Batman 2. This man just say you gonna have Knights of the Old Republic, and then like the new series year in and year out. You gonna get so many people
gonna be
confused.
right behind each other.
Yeah,
that's 2 different things. Hold on.
What about watching?
That's 2 different things.
From shooting guns to shooting nothing but lightsabers. What's happening?
Why not in the first movie? You're talking about 2 different things, though. So having 2 having 2 Batmen running at the same time is different than a story set 1,000 years before. Wars. Okay, hold on. So what I'm saying is that's like saying you couldn't watch Game of Thrones and what's the other one? House of Dragon.
House of Dragon. Yeah.
They couldn't have those running, or you can't have House of Dragon and what's the other show they got running now? The little
Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, so you're saying that those 2 can't work because everybody be confused. That's 2. They're 2 different stories in the same universe, but set years apart. So that's not going to be. Oh no, that's 2 different things.
You got me.
Okay, one is a series, and the other is a movie. So someone's going to be a casual. We got to think of the casuals now, because that's what you brought up with the Batman. It's the casuals. It's the ones that sit in there. They say,
that's not the same thing.
Star Wars is a new Star Wars movie out, right? Okay, cool. Well, why are they using these primitive weapons and stuff? Why are they using blasters and stuff now when they was just doing a whole bunch of other stuff in the other movie I just saw? That's what they're going to tell you. That's what they're going to ask. And you're going to say, it's a different era. It's a different time period. I know.
So the people like Andor, Andor was set in a different time. Rogue One was set before Episode 4. You know what I'm saying?
Series.
Okay. What I'm saying though is,
movie.
Rogue One was a movie. Right?
But Andor wasn't.
But I'm saying but Rogue One was set before Episode 4, and nobody looked at it and said, "This is confusing." I don't know.
Episode 4 came out in 1970 something.
77.
Okay. I don't think they were going to get confused by that. You're talking about something that's coming out every single year. versus something that came out in '77, and then they just said,
I
"Okay, well, this
think-
is the lead-in for it."
I think you want me to be wrong so bad, so you want to make it a stretch.
Absolutely
Because it's not the same thing as saying there's two different Batman with two Gotham cities that have nothing to do with each other with their own rogues galleries. As it's supposed to be, that would be confusing.
Hey,
But
you
having
used
a
the wrong
strong-
example, BJ. You used the wrong example. You should have said
What?
Gen V and the boys. That would be your example. Right
But
there.
no, he says
Both-
that series.
Both of them
That
coming
series.
like, both of them like right behind each other. Yeah, boys, Gen Z, boys, Gen V. Excuse me. So yeah. I was gonna say something else too. So we do understand too. Dave Filoni's on a short leash, right? Do you still have faith that he can save Star Wars?
Yeah, just trying to announce stuff and then cut them. Have
Sounds good
stuff
to me.
written and planned.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me. But all right, fellas, we can turn the page here, man. Let's go ahead and get to your questions and comments, y'all. We can call it a night. Yeah, we got Colton in the building. He says hi.
What up?
Then he said, please shout outs. There you
What
go.
up?
We shouting you out now. Shouting you out right now. Appreciate you, man. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. So yeah, we might have to be doing a show tomorrow evening, probably around 9 Central Time, 10 Eastern. So supposedly the Spider-Man trailer is supposed to be dropping tomorrow. I know they've been saying it's been broadcasting it for about a week now, saying it's going to be dropping on the 17th. Seems like it's been confirmed now. It's going to be dropping on the 17th. So we'll do like a spoiler discussion of the trailer. I know some folks on here already seen the leak trailer. Yeah, so y'all. But yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow, man. We can talk about the trailer tomorrow. A little special edition of Cap and Crown, y'all. So to join us here tomorrow at about 9 Central, 10 Eastern tomorrow. We talk about the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer 2. What you got, BJ? What you say?
You said the special edition of what show?
What I say? I said the other show.
Cap and Crown.
God dang, boy.
Which one
So
of us is
overseas.
King? Which one of us look like King?
Man. Cause we geeks. Join us tomorrow.
With all of the darker hue here.
Yeah, they no light hues here. Listen, yeah, join us to tomorrow evening around 9, y'all. We'll have a special edition of Cause We Geek'D. We'll talk about the Spider-Man when we talking about this right here. Yes, we're gonna be talking about it right there. We got another person in the comment section. We got yeah, you read that right, BJ.
Mike
He says, hey.
Wiggins?
Yeah, he says, hey. Yeah, I read that too. I had to pause for a second. But yeah, man, listen, if you guys could do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, man. Join us here every Tuesday evening, Saturday morning. Like I said, we'll have a show tomorrow evening talking about the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer 2. So join us for that tomorrow. It's your boys, Real. We got BJ, you got Cuz and BA in the building. It's Cuz We Geek. We talk about all things in the geek culture involving movies and television. We'll see y'all. Yeah, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay geeked. And we out.
Go,